Okay, we got a lawnmower here. The deck is destroyed, but it's a Briggs. Okay, so I've been itching to mess with this thing since I found it on the curb. It is so bad. I don't know if you can see that or not, but the entire deck is just about to go. Somebody had actually taped it at one point. Look, they put duct tape all over this part, I guess in an effort to continue mowing with it. I did try to look at what information I could see. There is a tag right there. I don't know if that's going to tell us very much, but probably we could look up the model number and see what year this was produced, most likely, or get within, you know, a few years. I would say this is probably the late aughts, like 09 or something like that, 08, 06, somewhere in there maybe. This does have a Briggs 6.5 on it, and it's covered in, I thought this was 190cc. I thought at first that this was like smoke damage or something, but it's not. This is maybe paint that's on here. I could probably get a scraper and scrape all this off if I really wanted to. I probably will at some point. It's a Troy-Bilt. But I'm really itching to see what this thing does when I try to start it. I mean, it's liable to just fall apart. The wheels are barely on it. It's dangerous as hell. So, danger being my middle name, let's give it a shot. Look right here. It's not even, it's barely on there. Gas. Oh, empty of gas. I'm going to put some starter fluid in there and see if it just pops off, and if it does, we might put a little bit of gas and see what it does after that. It's about what I expected. Yeah, it's got oil, and it looks terrible, but it's at least not empty. Did you see that? Pieces of deck are flying. Oh, it's so bad. Look, it's rotted almost all the way across. Like from about right here all the way to the other end, it's rotted completely through on the top. Wow. This is by far the worst deck I've ever seen on a mower. I guess you can see why. They probably left clippings just caked on here for God knows how long, you know what I mean? I'm gonna try it again. It's too entertaining. Yeah, the engine's fine. It just needs a good deck. You know, this might be a good candidate for an engine transplant onto another deck in the future, but yeah, now that I know that the engine is a good one, we can disassemble this thing. Well, actually, we'll go ahead and start doing that. I have nothing better to do right now. You can see just how bad it is and, you know, why it's this bad. You know, you can't leave grass clippings caked like this. Because what it does, it traps moisture up underneath it, especially if you ever mow with the grass wet or damp. It'll just cake under there and just rot your deck out. You know, if you do have to mow when the grass is damp, wash it off afterwards before you put it away, or you'll end up like this. But you even see like the white kind of, I mean, that's all like mold. So this deck is absolute garbage. We're gonna try to salvage the few things that, like this little skirt, we'll try to salvage that skirt and any hardware that we can get off of it. Yeah, so I got a good engine that will go on something at some point, and I got 4 wheels and a decent handlebar set out of the deal. I think I'm gonna let the rest of this go. I also found this wheelbarrow on the curb the other night. It's got actually 2 perfect handles on it, and those handles are kind of expensive if you have to go buy them. It's got all the bottom hardware. The top part is pretty good shape too, but it's missing a tire and it's missing one of the axle pieces. So we need an axle piece and a tire to get this going. But I thought twice about. I looked at this and I thought, hey, you know those old vintage mowers, those hover mowers? I started looking at that and I was like, okay, what if I were to mount that on that? And then turn it into stupid idea, right? But it's just dumb enough. Hey, how's it going, everybody? The dog days of August have set in. It's very hot outside. Very hot, very humid. I've waited till pretty late in the day to start this because of the heat. But we've got this old thing. You can ignore these tires. This is a Troy-Bilt TB210. Came off the curb late last year. Okay, 2 lawnmowers, free ones. A buddy of mine called me, said he just passed them down the road. I talked to the guy in the yard who put them out there. His name was Juan. I asked him if he had the grass catchers. He said no. Got the breather off on this one, so God knows what's up with that. Okay, that's way above the lines. It could be because I moved it, but I don't think so. That's above the lines. Missing the cover, the mulch cover. It's empty on this one. It doesn't smell that terrible. This one I'm not even going to attempt it because it's obviously it's been out for a while. Has no gas. I'm not going to put gas in it. And as you can see, it hasn't been touched. It's barely even moved in all that time as well. So what I want to do now is squirt some starting fluid in it and just kind of see where we are with it. It's already got the breather off. This is how it came when I got it too. So we're going to spray some starter fluid in it, see if we can't get it to crank over. Yeah, we got a couple of missing hubcaps as well. We'll probably take the back ones off and just match it with the black. I like the look of the black better, to be honest. Really just wanting to see what it does for the moment. Pretty dry, and it looks relatively clean. It's got maybe a little bit of sediment down there, but nothing major. That's what we got on the oil situation. Ooh, it's way overfilled. Look at that. Holy crap. Look at how far up the dipstick that is. It's way overfilled. Wow. Actually, before I move the oil from it, I may as well see if it turns over. Yeah. Okay, it's free. Got right there. Yeah, that's better. It's barely above the line. It's not going to hurt anything. Okay, let's get my WD-40 contact cleaner that I use as starter fluid. Okay, that was interesting. That's actually sounded like maybe a timing issue. Do it one more time, I'll show you what I mean. Because you could see it was spewing contact cleaner out of that breather hole. So check this out again. It felt like a timing issue to me. It's free. You can hear it breathing like it's getting some sort of compression on at least one of the strokes. And it did spew out some of that stuff a second ago. So let's move on to spark. They're having some kind of problems with this auto throttle. And so they put this clip on there, or the auto choke, excuse me. And they put the clip on there to try to, I don't know, what, restrict it or something maybe? Change the weight of it or something. I don't know what they were thinking with that. So the throttle, is it free? Yeah, it's free. This thing had been left outside for some time, probably 2 or 3 years. Just judging from the amount of crap that was on the deck down here, you know, probably a couple years it was left out, and it was left out with the intake off of it. So I mean, the carb is certainly going to need clean, regardless of what else needs to be done. It's going to have carb clean issues. Oh, yeah, I would say this would probably have some trouble sparking. Look, there's no gap really. It's all clogged up with junk. See what I mean? Yeah, I'm not kidding when I say it's hot out here today. It is muggy and hot, and just one of those really oppressive days in the South, man. Satan's armpit out here today. But it was even worse earlier in the day. And if you weren't in the shade, you were going to be hot if you were outside. I'm telling you. Alright, that's probably... Yeah, we don't have to take it too far. We'll just try that right there. I'm actually going to pop it back in, and we'll pop it off again and see if it goes. When I take it back out again, I want to see if it comes out clean, or if I have to clean it again, because that would tell me I've got a bunch of buildup and gunk in there. It needs to come out. Probably stuff that's built up on the head. Yeah, did you see the stuff spray out? Yeah, we've got spark. We do now, at least. So this has got bigger problems. Definitely, it has spark. I think my first instinct was timing. Yeah, it's looking like more and more that's probably going to be the case. I just noticed something on this gas tank. You see that right there? That's a hole in the gas tank, so we're going to need to patch that. So we're missing a choke spring that goes from this choke governor to somewhere. I'm not sure where it goes. I'm going to have to look at the specs for this engine. But I want to spray all this off. This is absolutely disgusting. I can't stand to even look at it. Okay, I feel a little bit better about that. So what we're going to have to do with this, we'll have to drain the oil and then take the engine off and actually crack the sump open and see why the timing is off. My guess is it's probably a cam gear issue. On some of these brigs, the cam is plastic and it can actually rotate itself, and that might be what has happened here. But I would say absolutely the timing is off on this. We'll let that drain and then we'll pull the bolts out. And in the meantime, here's the undercarriage of the deck. And it looks like it's in pretty good shape. It's got a bunch of spiders' eggs. So a whole community of spiders about to be evicted, but other than that, that was a whole bunch, actually. There's a bunch up in there too. The blade has got some nicks and definitely needs a sharpen. Whatever we do, it's gonna have to be sharpened. That's pretty bad. The blade's pretty awful right there. You're probably not gonna be able to see it too well, but it's got a lot of nicks and it's just generally very, very dull and very, very rusty. Yeah, definitely needs a sharpen. It's pretty dirty there. We'll hit that again with the hose. Okay, there's the engine out. Let's put it up on the bench, take that sump off, see where our timing is getting screwed up. There we go. There we go. All right, I can smell the old gas in this, and it is awful. I've had some leak out of the bowl, and also I saw a little bit come out of the gas tank, and it was really yellow, really nasty. So, you know, definitely that all has to be done too, the carb and all that. Even if this is catastrophic and we're not able to fix this engine, I do have a complete other engine we might be able to put on this thing. That's our backup plan for the moment. Okay, here we go, inside of this thing. I don't see the timing marks or where they're supposed to be. There it is, right there. There's the timing mark. So that is supposed to line up with this. Where's that supposed to line up at? I don't know if, has this moved? Okay, this is the timing gear right here, and it looks like, okay, this will have a key on the timing gear. Okay, pull that cam gear out of there for a second. You can see the keyhole right there, the key channel, and there's a key on the timing gear. They will correspond, so we'll get that on there. you can see this plastic sheath around this, and if it gets moved, it's going to throw the timing way off. Everything's going to be off at that point. I don't know that it's moved for sure, but it very well could be, and I think that's the timing mark that's supposed to be. That's the timing mark for sure, right there. So both of these valves are supposed to be open at this point. When these two are married, that is proper. So that's the timing mark for this particular gear. It was on the other side. I don't know what's up with that. Did somebody have this thing apart and move that, or did it move on its own? I don't know. I could not tell you. But we need to get this oil slinger back in here. This is also the governor mechanism for the throttle. I'm not 100% sure where this thing is supposed to go either in relation to this, but those timing marks right there look correct to me. Right now both valves are closed, so they're all the way down, which is where it should be when it's in this position. Yeah, man, the timing was way completely off. I don't know why that would have been like that unless somebody was in here screwing with it. So let's get the sump back on here. I'm gonna have to probably do something with this gasket. Now the gasket's completely screwed on this. We'll have to replace this sump gasket on this. Hey guys, so we're back with this thing. It's been several days and I got a new gasket in for this crankcase sump, and here's the part number for this company. I don't remember what the Briggs part number was, but I'll put it up on the screen or what have you. If you have the same exact engine, you'll definitely want to spend some time examining where your bolts go and the holes, and compare the pattern to what it is you think you're ordering, because I almost ordered the wrong thing at first. Yeah, definitely be careful about that. We're gonna get back into this and check this out. I wanted to show you something that I discovered. This is the camshaft gear, this plastic piece, and there's a mark on here. This one's actually really obvious because it has like a channel right here, and then there's even a bump down there lower. Some of these won't have this channel up on top, but they will have that bump sticking out. Okay, so also if you look at these lobes, these cam lobes down here on the camshaft, there will be one lobe that, and this is just a way to double check that the camshaft itself isn't damaged. Make sure one of the lobes, you can see the top lobe right there, is pointing roughly at where the timing marks are. So this top lobe is pointing at those marks, and then you've got another one below it. The other lobe down below is about 90 degrees off axis or so, and in this instance it's pointed right over here in this area. So that's about 90 degrees off axis from this other cam lobe that's on top. So the timing is now correct, and it absolutely was wrong earlier. So I don't know if somebody had been in here. I don't know if this thing had thrown somehow. I don't see how it could have happened unless somebody got in it physically, picked the camshaft up, turned it the wrong way, and then put everything back together and figured out it was screwed up from there. So that's the only thing I can think that happened. But you let me know. Have you ever had an instance like this where the camshaft was wrong and nobody had messed with it? Because I don't think that's even possible. But at any rate, we're going to get a scraper. We'll scrape off all this old gasket. Also scrape it off of this part as well. Also, do you like my new tax write-off boots here? These are Thorogood waterproofs. Made in the USA, mock toe boots. These are not steel toe, but I did need something to work in out here. Under 50 bucks shipped, which I thought was a great deal. The only thing wrong with them was they had a bunch of asphalt on them at the time that I bought them, which I have since taken off. But yeah, so that will be my tax write-off for this video, since they go under the purview of wardrobe. Okay, let's scrape this off. I may actually want to get on this with a wire brush. That's probably what I'll end up doing here, because this is not coming off easily. Oh, this is yeah, good, thank God. There's at least one section came off. What was funny on these gaskets is I ordered what I thought was one of them, and they sent me a pack of 5. I don't know what I'm going to do with 5 of them, but it'd be nice to have 4 in the future, I guess. Those are the valve tappets that fell out when I was doing that. Okay. Don't ever try to force it. Just make sure that it sits down there with ease and that you have the governor and everything in the right spot. Don't try to force it. You'll just end up bending something or breaking something. Okay, so these are supposed to be torqued to between 90 and 120 inch-pounds, which you can divide by 12. So 120 would be 10 foot-pounds, and then about, a third less of that would be what, somewhere between 7 and 10 foot-pounds of torque. So we're going to go about 9 or so. Okay, so if you don't know how to set a torque wrench, what you do is you set the 0 on the center mark on your specification chart right here. This one is for foot-pounds measurements, and this one is for Newton meters on this other side if you're from other places that use funny measurements. So anyway, there's 5, 6, 7, 8, there's 9. Tell you what, yeah, see, so I went up to 5 and then I added 4 to that and put the 4 at the center mark. So that's going to give us about 9 foot-pounds of torque. We'll get all these kind of finger tight first. correct? That can't be correct. Cannot be correct. Let's see. Did I break these? Did I break it? I may have broken it. Okay, this is turning into a repair on my brand new torque wrench. Yeah, it seemed like it was really tight the other day, so I took the top off. See if I could lubricate it a bit more, and that apparently threw something off, because now it's not torquing correctly. Probably should not have done it. We've got ball bearings everywhere. This piece has got little notches for ball bearings on the top and the bottom, so we've got to fill all those ball bearing spots up on top and bottom. Man, these bolts aren't going to make it. These bolts aren't going to make it up to torque. I think they're stripping out. Yeah, that one. It's just they're stripped. Somebody over tightened the damn things. So somebody has been in here and over tightened it. This is, yeah, it's not going to work. Somebody has had this thing apart before. They fucked up the gear, then they over tightened these bolts and stripped them, which is why the gasket was so smashed on there. So yeah, this thing, you know, without retapping all of these, this thing might not sit correctly, but you know what, I'm gonna roll the dice on it and just see if maybe this is enough. A couple of those bolts are stripped, but I'm getting enough of a bite where I'm hoping that this is okay. You know, but it's kind of a wing and a prayer though. Okay, I do still need to find a spring for the auto choke governor, so let me go ahead and do that. Okay, so I found a spring. Hopefully this will work. Might be too long. Yeah, might actually work just fine. Like I said, given those stripped bolts on the sump, I don't hold out a whole lot of hope for this, that it won't leak oil, but we're going to give it a shot. We've come this far, we may as well bolt it up and see if we can't get it going. Okay, so I've got that blade adapter back on there, but the key is kind of a faux key that's built into the side of the adapter, and I need to hammer those two little key points back in to those recesses so that this will stay in place. Because when we pulled this out, those actually popped out in order to get the thing out. Alright, it's there. Cannot see any leaks, so let me get rid of this. Now it's sounding like a mower, and I don't see any problems with leaks, so I think the couple of bolts that stripped, I don't think that's going to matter. Hopefully, fingers crossed. I will monitor it over the next little while for sure, but next, of course, we've got to hook up the fuel system. But I'd say there's no way that this thing is going to run without cleaning that carb. What do you think? I mean, especially knowing what it looks like when I got it, I don't think there's any way. Yeah, let's go ahead and pop that carb off of there, and we will put it in the ultrasonic. Yeah, we might have saved that. Throttle, and there she is. Okay, so I've got a coffee and a clean carburetor. We're going to go install this carburetor and see if we can get this mower to run now. I went to wash this airbox cover and noticed that the little piece that's supposed to go on here, sometimes they're plastic, sometimes they're metal. It just kind of like half shields the intake, is missing. That probably won't be an issue at all. I do think that sometimes it manipulates the airflow so that the carburetor is slightly more efficient. It creates maybe some vortices inside the carb that are beneficial. But I don't know. I don't think it's absolutely necessary for that to be on there. Okay, so that governor's working as it should. I think the only thing left to do really is to get gas in it. We do have this hole in the tank though. We gotta plug that, probably with some epoxy or something. All right, time to let me know what you think. First pull, second pull. Alright, so clearly we're doing some smoking here. It's like Cheech and Chong's still smoking. But yeah, I'm thinking that there's probably some oil deposits that have been spurted into the exhaust. I do know at one point, you know, I had to turn the mower on its side a few times, and there probably is a lot of stuff in there that where it doesn't belong. We'll let that, see if that burns off, but hopefully that will go ahead and burn off and quit smoking like that. We'll let it run a little bit longer, see if we can burn that off. Okay, won't start now. It makes me wonder whether or not that cam gear moved again. I have no idea how it could have moved once again, but you know, it was moved the first time, so because it's not starting now. So let's try some starter fluid, see if that kicks it. Yeah, it's going to be a runner. We're spewing gas though out of the tank, so I'm going to go ahead and wipe that off and fix that before we do anything else. Okay, so hopefully that'll seal. It looks like it's going to work. A couple hours, and that should be hardened by then. Alright, I guess while we're waiting on that epoxy to sit up, we can go inside and research the part we need for this mulcher cover. So we'll go ahead and do that. Also, I want to see if that bag that I have hanging up there, forgot about that. So I've got a bag up here that another guy did not want when he bought one of these mowers from me. Yep, that fits. So that actually will raise the value considerably. If I can get it all good and cleaned up, we'll go ahead and get that. Let's find that mulch cover. Alright, I don't know what happened, but something's majorly wrong now for sure, because I've tried to restart this, and I'll show you what it's doing. It's like locking up, and it's definitely got, I don't know if something came loose in the crankcase. I don't even know, but something's definitely not right. Okay, well, that's interesting. I have no idea how that happened, because you guys saw me torque that down. That's kind of scary, actually. Wow. Okay, let's try it without the blade on just for a second for giggles. It must have ran backwards at some point. Right now it's like it's acting like it's hydrolocked or something. You try to pull on it and the compression is backwards. The timing is definitely off again, but in a different way. I think this engine's garbage. That's crazy. Check this out. So we are now getting, I don't know if you can see it or not, but we're now starting to get oil out of the intake. There's oil coming out of here. Yeah. Okay, so clearly something is way off. Out of giggles, just to know what happened, I'm gonna take the engine back apart. We'll take the sump off and see what happened. I'm just out of sheer curiosity. Okay, so I just got this crankcase back open, and I'm hoping somebody can explain this to me, because look at this. The timing is off again, and I have no idea how this could possibly have happened. This governor is still in place, but somehow the timing is off. I'm pretty sure. So, look at that. See that? There's my timing mark. And there's the other one. It's off in almost exactly the same way, in fact. How? How? Is this not seated correctly? Or something? How's that even possible? There must be something that I'm missing here. I just don't know how this is possible for that to be off like that again. So I think new plan, I'm gonna probably abandon this motor just because of what it's doing. I have no idea how to diagnose this. I mean, this should not have the ability to go up and down if this is in the correct position. I don't know, gents. The only thing I can say is it seemed to go awry whenever I messed with the throttle artificially. So I reached up at one point, if you'll recall, and kind of grabbed the throttle and revved it up a bit, which, you know, moves this piece right here, and then this piece is able to come out like so. So maybe it has something to do with the governor and the way the governor sits on here. I don't know. I really don't know what to say about it. Maybe this piece is bent. Could be that this piece is bent and it's causing some issues. I just don't see how that could have happened. I don't see it. This did not, the camshaft did not move or anything like that. So how did that get off? How? Because the lobes are still correct. See? Here's our timing mark. We've got one lobe that's pointed almost at the timing mark, and then we've got the other one that's still about 90 degrees off this way. And those are correct in accordance with this. So what is going on? Why? Why did this happen? How? The only other way this could have happened is if this gear, this timing gear came up momentarily and was able to spin and then reseated somehow, you know. Maybe we're worn out here. We are. Look at that. We don't appear to be worn that much though, because looking at a cross section of it, I don't know. I just don't know how this could have happened. That's befuddling. The only thing I know to do at this point is retire this motor. Okay, so here is the motor off of that completely destroyed mower that we found on the curb. We have to get the adapter off of this one so that we can put the other adapter on, which has the pulley. And we're going to put this engine with the other adapter on this Troy-Bilt that we're working on. So let's go ahead and get this off. But this is more difficult than it looks. I've already sprayed this quite a lot with WD-40 and given it some wax. So we're going to try to get this thing on over here. Clean that up with the wire wheel. Okay, so that's looking much better. Much less corrosion down here on the bottom, much less on that shaft for sure. So let's get that other adapter with the pulley and we'll stick this on that other deck. Uh-oh. That's a different size shaft. This crankshaft is a completely different size to the crankshaft that was on this machine. See here? Look at all the slot. See here? different size. You can even see it. It's so off. All right, I'm gonna have to figure out something different here. I'm gonna have to get the calipers out. I'll measure the shaft and see what can be done. This is it's a 0.87 inches or 7/8, and this one is probably a full inch. Let's see, this one is, yeah, this one's a full inch. This is a 1-inch shaft, and that's a 7/8. Actually, I mismeasured here just a little bit. Unfortunately, turns out that this was about a 31/32, not a full inch, and I didn't find that out until later, until after I ordered an adapter. But then, you know, we'll figure that out later. Okay, kiddos, we are back finally with this Troy-Bilt. I'm not sure exactly where we left off last time. It's been a little while since I was working on this thing, but as you can see, I took the front wheel assembly off, the whole thing. I took it off, painted all of this, so instead of that, you know, crappy looking gray color, sun bleached, you know, gray, we've got it back to a nice looking black, and I think it definitely looks better. We took those back little hubcaps off, and I think it's definitely looking better. Cleaned it all up and everything. It probably needs another wash. It's been sitting outside. Also went ahead and cleaned up the top of the engine. Scraped the rest of that paint or whatever that was off of there, and it's looking pretty good, I must say. We also finally got this part in. This is a spacer adapter for the shaft, so we're going to go ahead and get this on there and get the blade on, but before we put the blade on, we're actually going to have to sharpen it. So let's go ahead and get the grinder out and the safety goggles and sharpen that up. So that side's looking much better. It's still got a bit of a, I mean, it's got a big old rock dent right there, but there's not a whole lot I'm not going to be able to take all of that out, but it's way better than it was. Yeah, that's actually really good, believe it or not. Yeah, that's good enough. I just want to knock a little bit of the rust off. Well, as it goes through the grass too, it'll knock a little bit more off of there, but not a huge deal. But yeah, you know, it's got some chunks out of the blade. The blade's not in the greatest shape, but that's as far as I'm willing to take it. That's going to cut grass for sure, so I'm not that worried about it. Let's get it on there. Oh yeah, one more thing. While I was extracting the pulley, I messed up some of the threads on the bolt, so I'm gonna cut this bolt a little bit where these threads are damaged down here on the end. Okay, let's hope there's enough bolt there to hold. There should be. This blade adapter's, this adapter's too long, I think. Yep, too long. Ay, ay, ay. Alright. I think that got it. Now then, is that gonna fit? Don't tell me it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. Why doesn't it fit?
See, I told you I measured wrong, so I'm going to spare you all the cursing and the back and forth right here, and also the part where I actually start to shoot an email off to the person who I bought this from saying, you sent me the wrong adapter. when clearly I'm simply measured wrong. So, yes, I come up with a different solution. So, like I said, yeah, I just wanted to spare you from all the cussing in this part.
Okay, so I did some measurements on this. This actually is 7/8. This is what it's supposed to be. It's inner dimension is 7/8 of an inch. Outer dimension is 1 inch exactly, or maybe even a little under right now because I've been kind of messing with it. But it's an inch. The thickness of this piece is 1/16th of an inch is the thickness of the gauge of metal. So I'm thinking if I can use something that's thinner than that, I might be able to get away with it. This is 1/64th. That might be too thin, but let me see. I might try to bang this into shape and use it. I really don't have many good options at the moment, so I've got to make something happen. Okay, I'm going to cut some of this off and we'll see if we can make this work. Okay, snipped a little bit off of that. We'll see what this does. I mean, there's play in it. I don't think it's going to work with that. I don't think so. Man, it would be nice though if it did work. Let's see one more thing. Okay, so I've got this brass shim stock that is exactly the right thickness. I'm going to try to make an adapter using it. I just hope that it's not too soft. Okay, so after a lot of shaping, basically what I did was I took the piece of shim stock that I cut out, wrapped it around this, and used my vice grips to I would clamp it like this, and then take my second pair and clamp it and just shape around. And after a lot of that, I finally came up with something that was real close to the correct shape. Don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but I was able to get the key channel cut pretty much correct, it looks like. And it does actually seem to work. So if I put this on here, it's pretty tight. Man, I think this might actually work. That's gonna be it, I believe. Okay, that key seems to be in there now. Okay, it's starting to get dark now, but I think I've got just enough time to start it. So tell me, what do you think? First pull, second pull, absolute disaster. Vote down below. One more thing I noticed, there is one bolt missing from the exhaust right there, but luckily I've got this exact engine, so I've got a spare bolt. So let me grab that. Of course it is. Okay, let's fire it one more time, and I've got a little bit of grass here I'll mow with it. Alright, so at long last, that's going to do it for this thing. It took forever, a lot of work in this, way more than it was worth, really, to be honest. But, you know, there's a satisfaction in seeing something that would have been resigned to the junkyard. Well, 2 different mowers that were resigned to the junkyard become something we can actually use. So that'll do it for this one. If you've liked it, hit subscribe, and we'll see y'all later.